Cool. Sweet. Well, welcome, guys. Welcome to my panel, Voice Acting Beginnings. My name is Jordan Dash Cruz. We're gonna go ahead and get started up in here. I'm a voice actor here in the Dallas area. I do a lot of work for Crunchyroll. I'm also an assistant director for Crunchyroll. A couple of my roles, just to kind of get started, a couple of my roles you may have heard me: Leon in Trapped in a Dating Sim, Tokimitsu in Blue Lock, Sean and John in Shadow's House, Suleiman in One Piece, Rashad in Beyblade, Temenos in Octopath Traveler 2, and many, many others, Dominic and Spy Family. I'm also a director, an assistant director. I've helped direct some shows over at Crunchyroll. Some of them are Blue Lock, Trapped in a Dating Sim, The Great Jahi Will Not Be Defeated, the Psychopath's Providence movie that just came out, um, Foodie Season 2. I helped out with that, Kuma 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 Bear Punch, um, and a couple of others. So I've been able to kind of be both behind the mic as well as in the director's chair when it comes to this incredible world of voiceover. So I thought it would be cool to have a panel where I kind of talk not just a little bit about my journey, but I give maybe those who are interested in voiceover, which I'm assuming everyone in here is somewhat interested, if not possibly pursuing a voiceover career. I thought I'd give you guys maybe a couple of tips, tricks, maybe things that I wish that I knew back when I got started, as well as some things that I see when I am directing actors, particularly new actors, and kind of like what they do. And then also, I'm open to questions. So if anyone has a question, like during anything that I'm saying, and you guys are like, I don't understand this, or I've got a question about this, feel free to raise your hand. I don't think we have, oh, we do? Okay, we've got a mic available. We're just getting a stand for it. But yeah, feel free to raise your hand and I will call on you and feel free to ask your question. There are no wrong questions as this is a panel about learning. Um, but yeah, to go ahead and get started, like I said, my name is Jordan Dash Cruz. I've been acting professionally for about 6 years now. I've been doing things over at Crunchyroll, then Funimation, for those 6 years. I got started doing acting in high school. I went to a small Christian school in Seffner, Florida. No one knows where Seffner is, so I'm like Tampa. Uh, and I remember just doing plays. I remember my first play that I got cast in was The Music Man. I played Boy 2, not Boy 1, Boy 2. And I think I had like 2 lines. From there, I just continued to pursue theater in my school. And once I graduated, I was like, I don't think I'm going to do theater anymore. I need a real job, so I can make money. So I went to USF. I don't know if you guys are familiar with USF, University of South Florida, on a 75% honor society scholarship, and I flunked out my first semester. Um, so I went to community college, and that's kind of where the acting bug bit me again, which was perfect timing because I had met a friend who was into anime. I didn't know what anime was, really. I had watched Pokemon, I'd watched Digimon, I'd watched all these shows, but I thought they were just American cartoons. I didn't realize they were actual like Japanese animation. And I thought, man, this is cool. I don't have to memorize lines. I don't have to block scenes. I don't have to do any of this stuff. Maybe voiceover is something that I can pursue. So I ended up buying a microphone. The first microphone that I bought, also, side note, feel free to take notes. I don't know if you guys have pen and paper or if you have your phones, but like feel free to take like notes or like anything that I might say, like equipment wise or anything like that. Feel free to take notes. I bought my first microphone, which was a Shure PG42 USB microphone. You never really want to go with USB microphones just because they can kind of they, I don't want to say they don't work as well as XLR, but XLR just has like a more stable connection. The only thing with XLR microphones is you have to buy an XLR cable for it. Um, but I bought my first microphone. I went on and signed up for a website. Unfortunately, this website is no longer exists, but it was the Voice Acting Alliance. And that's kind of where I was able to get my start uh, pursuing voiceover and kind of learning what in the world it was. um, Voiceover Alliance had a lot of like fan dubs, which for fan dubs, it's like hit or miss. Like some people are like, oh, don't do them. I think you can do them for practice. I just don't think you should share them because you could run into like licensing issues. Or you can like get in trouble like sharing them. But if you're doing them just for fun and just for practice, I think that's totally fine. But I remember doing those. I remember auditioning for some projects for, like I said, fan dubs for little independent games that were just looking for voice actors. I remember auditioning and meeting individuals, friends that to this day I'm still friends with, who are now also professionals in the voice acting world, which is kind of cool. Um, Pursued that, and I think that in that pursuit I found that voiceover was something that I wanted to do as a career, but I wasn't sure how to actually make it happen. I was like, I want to do anime, I want to do video
Mic
games.
test 1 2.
Oh, perfect, awesome, thanks so much, guys, appreciate it. We got a working microphone, yeah. Thanks for the claps. But oh goodness, I was like, I want to do voiceover. I want to pursue acting. I want to pursue like anime and video games. What do I need to do? So I knew, okay, maybe I should move to where the work is at. Here in Texas, it's kind of the big anime hub. It's kind of what we do here. So I said, okay, Texas will be the place that I move. What can I do to get there? So I actually ended up quitting voiceover for about a year and worked, jobs that I hated. I remember working at Stanley Steamer, which, yes, Stanley Steamer makes your carpet cleaner, but it sucks. I hated it. I also remember working at a place called Braille Works, which I was helping with individuals who have like issues with like eyesight. Maybe they need like large print stuff made. Um, Anything that I could do to save money to move to Texas so that I could pursue this career full time. I was able, that was loud. I was able to finally save up enough money. My goal was if I can have $10,000 in the bank, I'm going to feel safe moving to Texas. I feel like I'm going to have enough money for a fallback plan in case anything goes awry, and I'm going to feel good about it. So I moved to Texas, um, and I'll be honest, I was here for probably a little bit over a year, if not like around a year's time, before I actually booked my first professional gig. I was taking classes. There's a class. Well, there was a class. Unfortunately, she passed away. Phyllis Cicero. I remember taking her class over at KD Conservatory, which is in Dallas. That's a great place if you guys are looking to get a start. Oh, KD Conservatory, yeah, right on, man, right on. That was a great place, KD Conservatory. I also remember taking classes with Chris Rager, who's the voice of Hercule in Dragon Ball. He has a really, really awesome class that's excellent for beginners because he kind of gives you time to be in the booth. He kind of works with you, and he's not. I do think that it's good to have directors and coaches and teachers that are honest with you, but sometimes they can be a little too honest, and people who are just starting, it might drive them away a little bit where it's like, I don't want you to just tell me that I suck. Like, like cut me a little slack, use the, what is it, the marshmallow method or the cookie method, the sandwich method. Yeah. That's my fiance, by the way. Um, so Chris Rager has a great class. I remember taking a class with Sonny Strait. I remember taking a class with Kyle Phillips. Kyle Phillips is a former director over at Crunchyroll. Private coaching. I remember getting coaching from Terry Doty. I don't know if she does private coaching anymore. Tony Oliver had a Adventures in Voice Acting class, which I took, and he's super 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 nice. I don't know if he still travels down to Dallas because that's mainly an LA class, but I know on occasion he will come down to Dallas and offer the class. So if he ever does that, I highly recommend you guys take it. I've heard Richard Horvitz is great. Just a bunch of classes that you can take if you're interested in pursuing voiceover. So I took these classes. I was fortunate enough with Sonny Strait. He had known Dave Trosco at the time, who's the voice of President Mike in My Hero Academia. And Dave was looking for some new people to bring in to Crunchyroll. It was Funimation at the time for his show. So I submitted. I submitted my demo. I submitted my resume, which I'll get into in a second, and hoped for the best. Well, my hoping paid off. He called me in for an audition. I auditioned and I booked the role, and it's been snowballing ever since. I've been getting consistent work over at Crunchy pretty much, excuse me, for the last 6 years since then. Which is a lot of fun because I love, doing, voicing anime. It's a really fun medium. But that's a little bit of how I got started. That's kind of my story. Um, Obviously, you guys are here for this panel, not to hear my story, but to learn a little bit. Hey there, how's it going? But to learn a little bit more about the world of voiceover. So, I want to talk to you guys about some things that I learned. Again, if you guys are interested in pursuing voiceover, some things that I learned growing up, growing into it, as well as some things that I see as someone who's an assistant director and who works with some new actors a lot of the time. Um, for me, a lot of times people think that a voice demo that they need to get one ASAP. If you don't know what a voice demo is, it's kind of like your calling card. It's something that you record. It can be, an animation demo. It can be a video game demo. It can be a commercial demo, narration. It can be a creature demo if that's something that you're interested in doing and you think you can do creature voices really well. I don't know if there's an audiobook demo. I don't think so. Is there an audiobook demo? Wow, interesting. I don't have one. Um, but there's demos that you can literally make for pretty much any type of voiceover because voiceover isn't just anime, it's not just video games. I'll be honest with you, like the pay for anime, like the video games are better, but the pay for anime is not lucrative. It's not as much as you think it is. Um, However, you book a commercial, you book like a SAG commercial, or you book like a union gig, you get residuals. You'll get paid for your time. Like sometimes they have minimums and whatnot, so it's really good. I always say if you do anime for the soul, but you do like commercial for like the money and to pay your bills. Um, but some things, like I said, a lot of people try to get a voice demo way too early. And I get it. You're very excited. You're like, hey, listen, I want to start my career. But I can tell you right now, a bad voice demo is going to leave a bad taste in the mouths of directors. That's not to say they're never going to call you in again. But if you're sending in a bad demo, if you're sending in something where they listen to it and they're like, this person's not ready, they're going to be, they're going to be looking elsewhere. They're going to be like, okay, maybe they can send me something else like once they are ready, but like right now this isn't it, and I'm sorry, but like this, I need somebody that knows what they're doing, if that makes any sense. So take classes, really make sure that you as an actor are prepared before you make a voice demo, because the last thing you want to do, voice demos obviously cost money. The last thing you want to do is get a bad voice demo and then it's not usable. People aren't calling you in for it. You've spent maybe $1,500 on this demo, and it's not good. And not only that, but now you're going to have to get another voice demo once you improve. So you're going to be spending even more money. So please do not get a voice demo right off the bat, especially if this is something that you're just trying out or if it's something that you're interested in, take classes first, please. Any voice actor, and I say that as if there's like other voice actors up here. Any voice actor, you can ask like any of them that are signing, or you can ask any at like any other convention you might meet. They will tell you, take classes. That is, if I can drill that into your head, I will. That is probably the most important thing because it's not just voice, it's voice acting. You get what I'm saying? So please, please, please take classes. As a director, working with a lot of new people, um, it's okay to be nervous. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being like, hey, listen, like, I'm a fan. Like, I love this show. I'm a little bit nervous. This is my first time getting called in. There's nothing wrong with that. I've seen a lot of new actors who come in and they're like kind of shaking a little bit. They're a little bit nervous. They're kind of like, oh man, I want to really do a good job because if I do a bad job, like I'm not gonna get called back in anymore. And I'm like, stop worrying about that. You know, you're here for a reason. You're good. You like even if we're trying you out, like you're here for a reason. Take confidence in that. Own that. We want you to book the role because that makes our job easier because then we don't have to look anymore to try and find somebody to play this character. Um, so just take a deep breath. If you guys ever get called in for a session, I'm not even talking about just Crunchyroll, just overall. Take a deep breath. Know that the director wants you here. They want you in the room. They want you to do a good job. Because like I said, it makes our job easier. It's fun. We all have a good time. We're smiling, we're laughing. It's great. Um, and that's again not to say nerves don't happen. I mean, I remember whenever I used to go in back in the day, like my first time, like I was super nervous as well. But it's okay, like you're there for a reason. Take a deep breath. Even let the director know, hey, listen, it's my first time. I'm a little bit nervous. Like if there's anything, like feel free to like let me know. I would rather have that than someone who's like, hey, can you do this? Yeah, yeah. And then we go to record it and then they can't do it. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell them, but it's like, you said that you could do it. And, you didn't. And now that kind of makes you look bad because, it kind of, I don't want to say you look like a liar, but like, it's like, you're telling me you can do this thing and you can't. I would much rather you just tell me, hey, I can't really do this, or like, hey, I don't understand. Um, that's another thing that a lot of new actors will do is because they want people to think that they know what they're doing, because we're all professional. They'll say that they understand something and they won't ask questions. And because they don't ask questions, we'll say, hey, why don't you do this for me? And they won't understand it, but they'll still say, yeah, yeah, yeah. And they'll either do it completely wrong or they won't do it at all. And I'm sitting there going, okay, like you're very sweet, but it'd be a lot easier if you tell me like, hey, I don't know what this means, so I can answer and let you know, excuse me, what it means, as opposed to now we have to spend extra time, trying to find like, or me, and now I have to spend extra time like explaining, and we've already like tried to record this stuff, and it's, if you have questions, never be afraid to ask. Never be afraid to be like, excuse me, I'm sorry, I don't understand this. Because I'll be more than happy, and I know a lot of other directors will be more than happy to explain to you guys, hey, this is what it means. So don't be nervous about that. It's okay to not know things. All right. Um, I would say those are probably some of the like two biggest things that at least I see as a voice director. Um, Flipping back to voiceover, and then I'll open the floor for any questions that anyone might have. Um, if you're interested in getting into voiceover and you're like, I just don't know how to do it, there is no set path. There is no set way for you to get into voiceover. A lot of people are always like, well, how did you get into it? I just shared my story of how I got into it. My fiance Kelsey, she's a voice actress for Crunchyroll. Her story is different than mine. Marianne, Celeste, Bo, like all these guests here, like their stories are going to be different from each other because there's no set way into getting into voice acting. If you're interested in it, though, here are some tips. One, buy yourself a microphone if that wasn't, obvious. Like I said, my first starting microphone, a Shure PG42. It's about 250 bucks. And you might say, well, that's kind of pricey. Microphones can get up to like thousands of dollars. And you might say, well, you're just talking into it. There's a lot of reasons why they're thousands of dollars. If you listen like back to the recordings, you'll be able to tell a good microphone from a bad microphone. Trust me. Um, but yeah, buy yourself a microphone. It doesn't have to be expensive. The Blue Yeti is one that a lot of people buy, and that sucker's like $100. Like I said, I wanted to be a little bougie, so I got $250. Not that that's really expensive. But now we're using Neumann TLM 103, which is about I think $1,000 microphone. And that's what we use to record for stuff from home. I've got sessions or I've got clients that are like, hey, I know you can't come into the studio. Can we just do a remote recorded studio session from home? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Our setup's good enough to where they trust, okay, we're not going to be getting any room noise. We're not going to be getting any of this. So buy yourself a microphone. It doesn't have to be great. The next important thing, soundproofing. You want a good area, a good space where you can record that's free from noise, that's free from background noise. If you have a loud AC, like if you've got a fan that's kind of loud or something, like you want a space that's away from all of that. The reason behind it is nobody likes background noise in recordings. They're trying to make it, they're trying to make it a good product. They want it as clean, as crisp as possible. So soundproofing, some people might even argue that soundproofing is more important than the microphone that you use. And I would argue that it is. So get bass traps. You can get just soundproofing foam. I know Amazon like sells it in packs. Bass traps are also very important. You kind of just put those in the corners. I'm not an engineer, so like I'm not gonna talk too much about like how to set up because that's not my forte. If my friend Spencer was here, he'd probably be talking to you nonstop about it. But I can't go into the engineering side of things, unfortunately, because I don't know much about that. But I do know that soundproofing foam is important. If you can find like a closet, I know Kelsey and we have a little walk-in closet that we've set up with a bunch of soundproof foam. We even have like a little fan in there it's supposed to be a noiseless fan. I'm not sure because I don't trust it, so I always turn it off. But soundproof foam. You don't want things in there where sound can like ricochet off. So like no metal, none of that stuff. Um, in terms of auditions, nowadays the world has kind of changed a little bit. Like I said, I used to look at like Voice Acting Alliance, which unfortunately isn't a thing anymore, but now they have Voice Acting Club. They have a Casting Call Club. Um, there's a lot of studios on Twitter that will post casting calls. They'll be like, "Hey, listen, I'm looking for POC, female who can do like a 30 to 35-year-old voice with this type of accent. Send in your reels, send in your stuff." I have a friend of mine who's a casting director. She's a professional casting director, and sometimes she still will post Twitter posts about looking for a specific actor or looking for a specific, person that can fit all these different specs. And she'll say, send me your demos, send them in. And then you'll see like that post just flood with like a bunch of actors sending in their demos. It's really funny. But yeah, Twitter's another place. Now, I will say be careful with Twitter. Just because like there are some people there that I think try to take advantage, or they'll be like, "Oh, I'm looking for people for my fan project and you'll get paid and thank yous," and it's like, thank yous cool, but I need to pay my bills, man. Sorry. Um, so I would say be cautious with Twitter, but Twitter still is a place that you can like find some work. Um, I know Kelsey here, she uses LinkedIn a lot. There's a lot of directors that you might be able to contact over LinkedIn and say, hey, listen, I really like your projects, or I really like the work that you do, or hey, I noticed that you have this thing. Are you looking for voice actors? Because I'd love to send you my stuff. Um, and if you are looking for people, like let me know and I can send you my rates. And like I said, I'm starting to get into like a bunch of other things that I can just go on a tangent about. But yeah, if you guys are looking for places to maybe dip your toes in, like I said, casting call club is good, voice acting club, Twitter, maybe LinkedIn. Um, and then golly, like I said, and I hope that this is okay that I'm like rambling about this stuff. Like I want to give you guys a chance to speak as well or ask questions if you have any. Um, but talking about rates and talking about like I said, the demos, it got me to thinking about a couple more things, if that's all right. Rates are important as an actor. I always say know your worth as an actor. Um, a lot of indie projects will ask what your rates are. Um, like, oh, I'm this much per hour, or I'm this much per line, or I'm this much per word. Um, I feel like for indie projects, sometimes you have to give a little bit of flexibility just because since they're independent projects, they may not have all the money in the world. And if you're still kind of new to the game, I'm not going to sit here and be like, you shouldn't do free things for free. Because if you're new to the game and you want a little bit of experience, I'm not going to take that away from you. But I have found that for those that ask for rates, it always sucks being honest, but you're going to thank yourself for being honest, because nothing is worse than getting underpaid for a job where you're like, oh yeah, I'll do this for 20 bucks, and then you find out you've got like 1,000 words that you have to say and you have to edit it, and then you're just like, I hate my life, this really sucks, this is not worth $20. So in terms of your rates, I mean, it really just depends on your level of acting, like where you feel you are. Never undercut yourself, never sell yourself short. Um, but that's something that I always tell people, you need to figure this out. Maybe ask other actors, hey, what are your rates? And then go, oh, okay, well, I don't know if I'm at that level yet. So let me maybe start off at this level. Maybe let me start off at 50 cents a line or $1 a line. And then maybe like once I get enough projects under my belt, or maybe if I get enough stuff under my belt, then I can move to $2 a line or 3 or 4. Keep in mind, these are indie projects, so they may go $4 a line. You're good, but sorry, I don't have the money. And then they'll go with somebody else. But yeah, never sell yourself short. Rates are important. Um, I do wish that more I do wish that more clients, indie clients, would be a little more honest about like what they're willing to pay. Because a lot of times they'll go, say your rates, and I'm like, well, how about you tell me what your budget is, and then I can let you know what my rates are. Because I might be willing to lower my rates a little bit if I feel the project is good enough, or if I feel strong about the project. So that's one thing that I would like to see a little bit more, I guess, in the indie world, is some of these clients being like, here's my budget, and I'll be like, okay, thank you for sharing, here's my rates. um, and then like I said, uh, not to jump around, but the second thing, since I was talking about demos, and I had already mentioned demos to you guys, like I said, demos the calling card. Once you do feel you are prepared for a demo, absolutely 100% record it. Like I said, a lot of these Twitter posts, a lot of these, emails, a lot of these clients, they're looking for demos. They want to hear you. If you don't have anything to send them, they're going to sit there and go, well, I'd like to use them, but if they don't have anything for me, like, I'm not going to sit here and take the time because I'm super busy. I'm not going to take the time to like try and like look them up and like try and find stuff out about them, because a lot of casting directors are super busy. A lot of them are listening to potentially thousands of auditions. So they're not going to sit there and go, well, let me take 5-10 minutes to look up this actor. So that's why a demo is important. You're just able to send it off, say, hey, listen, this is my stuff. This is what I've got. Obviously, send a resume with it. Um, Preferably a one-page resume. Anything more than one page can kind of get a little annoying. So you always want like one-page resume, your best stuff on there, training on there as well. But send off that stuff. Hope for the best. I know when it comes to demos, you're always updating them as well. I haven't updated my demo in quite a bit, so I'm a little bit a little slow on that one. But demos are definitely important, and keep in mind you're always improving. So your demo from 2 years ago, you may listen to it and go, I've gotten better. I think it's time for something new. But yeah, I would say that that's at least some of the tips and tricks that I have found out whenever I got my start that I wish people had told me. But now I'll open the floor to any questions, or if anyone's like, hey, listen, I'm interested in this in particular, or I'm interested in audiobooks, or I'm interested in anime or video games, like all this stuff, by all means, feel free to ask if there are any questions. And if not, I'll just keep talking. Does anyone have any questions at all so far? Yes. Oh, you don't have to go up here. Yes, yes, there is. I'm glad that you asked that. Very good question. Um, I would say for me, a really good way to practice at home, books, reading out loud. If you've got books, honestly, open it up to a page like books, or I know for me, like we've got a couple of shows or plays that we've been in. Open it up and just read it out loud. It doesn't have to be like any crazy voices, unless you want it to be. But just reading out loud helps a ton. It helps with your diction. Um, it helps you be confident in your reads. It helps you make choices, because that's one thing being an actor is you always want to be confident in your choices. A director can tell if you're not confident in your choice, because it's like, oh yeah, as opposed to yeah. You see, it may not be the right choice, but I would much rather somebody make the wrong choice and fully commit to it. And I'm like, dang, that was good. It was wrong, but it was good. As opposed to being like, I think they figured out it was wrong halfway through, and then they kind of didn't really commit. So I don't know. Are they going to be able to do this? Do they have the energy? Because it's a lot easier to tell someone, hey, calm down a little bit, bring it down, as opposed to, hey, can you put up the energy? Can you give me a little bit more? So I would say reading out loud is a big one. You know, tongue twisters. I know for anime, there's a lot of, I respectfully, there's a lot of like Japanese words that we will have to say, like names and stuff like that can be difficult. I know Ascenta, I can't even remember what I had to say, but it was very long and it was Japanese. And I remember looking at the director and I'm like, am I saying this right? I don't know. Like, I hope that's okay. And he listened. He's like, no, you're fine. You're fine. And I'm like, all right, cool. But yeah, reading out loud helps with your diction. Like I said, it helps you make choices. It gives you a little bit more confidence. So definitely read out loud. And like I said, second thing, tongue twisters. If you know any, do some tongue twisters because they will help you with your diction as well. So thank you for the question. All right. Yes. Yeah. If you want to. Yeah.
What kind of software do you recommend for home
Nice.
studios?
Okay, for home studios.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me for a long time, and this was again when I was not as professional, when I was still kind of like doing a lot of just indie stuff myself. I was using Adobe Audition, or no, I was using Audacity, which is a very basic program. It's free. You can record yourself. You can do like minor editing. Again, it's nothing crazy, but it works for what it is. So if you're looking for a very cheap, free option, Audacity is great. I know I've done a lot of auditions over Audacity, and I've still booked some things. What we use now is we use Reaper. It's just it's an easy, like, well, I don't want to say it's easy. It takes some learning, but we've found it to be, a very simple and easy like way for us to record. I know people use Adobe Audition. I know that there's people that use Pro Tools. I'm not adept in Pro Tools by any means. I don't know how to use it. Again, my friend Spencer, he works on Pro Tools quite a bit, and I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, bro. I have no idea. So I would say, if you're, again, if you're starting out, if you're interested, Audacity is a free option. If you decide, hey, I want to pursue this as an actual career, and you want to kind of level up a little bit, like I said, Adobe Audition, Reaper. If you want to try Pro Tools, you can try Pro Tools. Um, but those are the ones that we use for sure. Yeah, sure.
Um, for a voiceover box for soundproofing, do you recommend, like, they have those high end ones where
Mhm.
it's like huge, it's like a safe box
Oh
basically?
yeah, like the whisper rooms and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Do you
Yeah.
recommend those, or just like going in a closet with like a, you know,
Yeah. Again, depends on how much money you want to spend. It depends on how much money you have and how much you're willing to spend. There's people that book auditions and record just from their closet. We don't have a high end whisper room. Like, we have our closet with soundproofing and bass traps and, you know, like a blanket covering the desk that has our keyboard, you know. Um, there are people that use whisper rooms. There's people that have, like, I know another popular one is Studio Bricks, which is one that you kind of build yourself. It's very big, but like you kind of build it by placing pieces on top of each other. Um, and it comes with like a little bit of soundproofing, but you still need to buy some because I'll be honest, it's not enough. um, but those suckers can run you like $10,000. If you're booking a ton of work and you just kind of want a place, then yeah, I would say buy like a whisper room or buy like a Studio Bricks if you want to. I'm not going to stop you. Um, but a lot of other people have found success. What's up? Oh, blanket. Oh yeah, yeah. And then there's Vocal Booth to go. I forgot about that. I'm sorry. Okay. There's also Vocal Booth to go, which you can buy as well, and that's kind of like, it's a very thick blanket. It's many thick blankets that you kind of just stack on top of like this little crane stand thing. Um, she had one, and we still have one, but we don't use it anymore because we use the closet. Uh, but yeah, I mean, if you want to buy a Studio Bricks or something, or if you want to buy like a vocal booth to go, by all means, it can definitely help dampen some of the sound, especially if you have like loud neighbors or like a lot of lawnmowers or different things like that. Um, but I don't think you have to, and I really don't think you have to if you're just getting started. Like, spend your money on classes, don't spend it on a vocal booth to go, or don't spend it on like a Studio Bricks just yet. So, thank you. I hope that answered your question. So, cool, cool. Alrighty. You said you had your hand. Yes, yes. What did I have on my demo? So I've got a couple of demos. Again, they're still a little bit older, so I need to revamp them. I have a commercial demo where I just kind of use my normal voice, maybe like slightly higher, slightly lower. It's I don't know. It's like which of Taco Bueno's new homemade taquitos is the best? Well, it's easier to just try them all. So it's kind of like that, a little bit lower. Or, this Mother's Day, tell a wow her with our new Mother's Day mom bouquet. So it's very natural, I guess. I guess that's what a lot of clients are looking for nowadays, natural. Um, I have a character one, which is a little more character work, not like character voice work, but more like scenes featuring like characters that are doing something. So I've got like a DJ doing something, who's upset, or I have like a dude that's screaming because, like, you know, something happened to him. And I still kind of used like my voice, just higher, lower. I have an animation one, prelay, which prelay is a lot of non-anime cartoons, so it's like American cartoons, where you actually record before they draw it, so you don't have to match lip flaps at all, which is really nice. For that one, I've got a little more charactery, silly, wild, wacky, the things that you would probably hear in like silly American cartoons. And then I have a visual demo. My visual reel is a lot of my anime work, just in video form instead of audio form. So I'm like, hey, this is like a scene from a show that I recorded, and this is my character, and you can see what's happening on screen right now. So those are the 4 demos that I have. But I think for everyone, it's going to be different. You kind of, when it comes to demo recording, you want to put your strong stuff first. You want to put like things that you feel confident in, voices that you feel confident in. Most of the time, it's your natural voice. A lot of people have their natural voice first. But yeah, just things that you're confident in, and then maybe kind of put like accents that you're good at, like towards the end. Um, but again, I'm not like a casting director, so I don't 100% know what they look for, because every casting director is different. Someone might go, "Yeah, I really like this demo," and someone else might go, "I don't really like this demo." Uh, but yeah, I would say, I think universally people will agree, put your strong stuff first, and then maybe try some other things like towards the end, of your demo. So I hope that answered your question. So cool, cool. Any other questions about VO? Yes. Make your way up.
Yeah. So, how do you find your like vocal range?
My vocal range,
Yeah,
like me personally, or just in general?
just in general.
In general,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I would say, like, well, because everyone's different, like there's some actors that they've got like 1 or 2 voices, but they just do those voices really, really well, and they book a lot of work. Whereas there's others that they can do a lot of the wacky, silly, ridiculous voices. There's people who can do creature voices, which I wish that I could do, um, as good as like Frank Welker or like some of these other people. Um, I would say just practicing. I know there's people who take singing lessons and they've got range. I think Reagan Murdoch, he's one of the actors over at Crunchy. I think he does like opera. Um, so singing, I would say, could definitely help. If you're looking for like stretching your range out a little bit. Um, and honestly, sometimes it's just going in the booth and trying something out, getting an audition side and going, okay, they say that they're looking for this. Maybe I can try it. Oh, they want a deeper voice. Well, I've never really done deep before, but I can give it a shot. And then you try it, and then you find out, oh, I guess I can do this. Like, this is really cool. I didn't even know I had this. So just trying stuff out. Like I said, trying stuff out in auditions, or if you book, like trying stuff out like in front of a director. If they're like, hey, like Walla and Bits for anime, a lot of the background stuff. That's a great opportunity to like, try different things if the show allows. If it's a more serious show, it might be a little bit more difficult. But like One Piece or something, you could have fun with that and try things out.
Get wacky with it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how I would say, in terms of like finding your range. Everyone's is different. Just try things out, man. See what you're strong in, see what works. You can even ask friends that you trust and be like, hey, I'm thinking about using like a new voice, or I'm thinking of trying something out. Like, what do you think of this? Do you think this is believable? Because again, you know, the acting, I think, is the most important thing about it, and then the voice kind of just comes second. So it's like, oh, hey, yeah, your acting is great, and yeah, actually, like, I think that voice works too. So there's a bunch of, I guess, like different little ways that you can find your range, or even stretch your range if you would like, to stretch it. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, for sure. Want another thing is, do you think like mimicking or like attempting to copy another character's voice
Yeah.
helps?
I think it can help, but I don't think that that should be something that you like necessarily pursue
Yeah.
unless you're actively pursuing being like like an impressionist.
Yeah.
You know, if you're like, hey, my career is going to be me literally perfectly mimicking these voices, then yes. Um, if you're just doing it for fun, I don't see any harm in that. The only thing is obviously like if they're looking for a specific actor, you know, they're probably going to hire that actor and not you, you know. So it's like, oh, hey, you know, why are we going to hire such and such to do Goku when we can hire the voice of Goku? If that makes any sense. But I don't think it hurts to do like impressions. I don't think it hurts to you know use it to like stretch out your range a little bit. Or you might be able to find like a character in doing that impression that you can kind of make your own, if that makes any sense at all. So it's like not a perfect impression, but it's like, oh, hey, this bad impression has helped me find a new character voice that I can do that sounds nothing like this actual, you know, other person. The only time in anime that I've found that a vocal match was needed is like if an actor's not available. So say an actor's sick or like they're on vacation or something and they need another actor to come in because simuldubs are a thing and we have like a week to record everything. Then I would say you would probably try to get as close to a match, you know, for that actor as possible. But outside of that, I haven't seen too much of that for anime. So appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you. Cool, cool. Sweet. Any other questions? Like anybody interested? Like any yes. How long should demo reels be? So I feel like there's been a little bit of like different answers, but the general consensus that I've heard is 60 seconds to potentially 90 seconds max. Um, I think depending on the type of demo, I know like for my visual reel, that's like 2.5 minutes because that's what Twitter X or whatever it is now allows for videos. It's like 2 minutes and 20 seconds. But that's for my visual reel. For an audio reel, 60 seconds, just because a lot of casting directors are go, go, go. They'll hit play, they'll listen to it, they'll be like, all right, cool, cool. A lot of casting directors, they'll listen to like the first 5-10 seconds. And if they've lost interest, they'll be like, all right, cool, whatever, next. Um, so you want like this again goes back to putting your strong stuff first. If you put your strong stuff first, they're more inclined to listen because they might be like, oh, this has piqued my interest. This is pretty good. But you don't want it to be too long to where they just get bored and lose interest, where they're like, oh man, you know, it's been 2 minutes and like I'm still listening to this. So I would say like 60 seconds, 90 max, just depending on the demo. Mine are about 60 seconds. So maybe play it safe and be a little bit shorter. But I don't think anyone's going to complain if it's a little longer than that. So I hope that answered your question. So cool, cool, sweet. Anybody else? Yes. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. You can write your own material. I know for my first demo, like I had my buddy who's a writer. I was like, "Hey man, can you write my demo?" He's like, "Yeah." So I wrote it. Well, I didn't write it. He wrote it. Um, but that's what I did for my first one. It's a little tricky when it comes to auditions, putting like auditions on a demo because sometimes you're signing NDAs when it comes to these auditions. So if you put it on your demo, I would say you're technically like breaking it. So like they could get upset because it's like, hey, this is our commercial and you didn't book it, or hey, this is our commercial and like we told you not to talk about it because people aren't supposed to like know this or they're not supposed to like understand if that makes any sense at all. Um, don't put like anime impressions on your demo, please. Because casting directors will hear that and they're just like, why is he doing a bad, like Luffy impression? Like, I don't get it. Um, so it might be safe to just like write your own material. Listen to other actor demos. Listen to other actor demos and really just like hear kind of what they have in there. If you're looking for a character reel or a video game reel, listen to some actors who do a lot of video games. Listen to their demos. Maybe, I don't know, if they might have websites where they have their demo and whatnot on there, but listen and be like, oh, okay, so this is kind of the writing style that they have for video game demos. Maybe I can write something that's kind of similar to this or kind of has that same feel, um, and then just act it out. um, you do want your demo to sound professional, so unless you do have like a very professional sounding booth, I would recommend going into like a studio and getting it recorded. But yeah, in terms of writing, I don't think there's any harm in writing your own material. Just do your research early on. That way you can kind of get the best bang for your buck, if that makes any sense. So thank you. Cool, cool. Any other questions? If not, I will chat for a little bit longer. I think I've got 5 minutes. So I guess I can close this out. Um, Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought someone was talking to me back there. Yeah, if there's no other questions, I can definitely close us out, um, just by, I guess, giving you guys like a little bit more of a tidbit, and then I'll let you guys leave. Which, by the way, thank you for coming to the panel. Yeah. So I guess, we've talked about demos, we've talked about like auditions, we've talked about um, kind of what I've seen as a director. I say all this, and I, again, like I said, I appreciate you guys coming to the panel. I say all this because I love this industry. I love voiceover. I love acting. I think it's a really, really cool medium for us to just be able to step into these character shoes and just, have a little bit of fun. Coming to these events, these cons, it's always fun, like chatting with fans, and they're like, "Man, I didn't know you were in this." And it's like, "Yeah, I was in that. It was a lot of fun. It's a great show." But I say all this because I want to see people succeed. I know that there's always a lot of answers thrown about, and I'm not even going to sit here and say all of my answers are what you should take, as law, because there's going to be other actors with different opinions, because again, everybody's journey is different. So again, what worked for me may not have worked for said actor or may not work for you. But I do want to give you guys an opportunity to kind of get maybe a little bit of a leg up. Because like I said, 10 years ago, I remember sitting, not in these exact seats, but I remember sitting as a fan. Thank you. I remember sitting as a fan going, man, I want to be up there someday. Man, I'm passionate about this. Like, man, I wish I could get all this advice, or I wish like someone would tell me like these things. Um, which is why I had this panel in the first place. Um, I believe in you guys. If this is something that you really, really want to pursue or something that you're interested in, hey, if I could make it happen and I'm able to like sit up here now 10 years later, you for sure can make it happen. Um, just study up, take classes. Like I said, I told you I was going to drill that into you guys' head. Take classes, um, learn, be open. There's going to be some people in the industry that, maybe you don't necessarily get along with as friends, but you guys work well together. That's okay. You don't have to be friends with everybody. Just do a good job, enjoy the work. Um, there's going to be ups and downs, ebbs and flows, seasons of prosperity, and then seasons where you're just not booking anything. That's normal. Every actor deals with it. Every actor goes through it. It can be it can be rough. It can be a little draining. It can be a little mentally taxing. I'm not gonna lie. I've definitely found myself in like some dark places before, just because it's like, man, nobody's picking me. Man, I must suck. I'm a terrible actor. How dare I even pursue this career? I'm gonna get a real job again, right? Um, but just know that that's normal. Like we're passionate about this. You know, we love this, and you know, I'm excited. I'm always so excited to see like new people like coming in and you know, kind of killing it and like showing what they can do. So please, you know, don't let, if you're, again, if you're interested in doing this, like don't let anything like discourage you from pursuing it. It is a difficult industry. It is very challenging, like I said, at times. You're going to be pouring a lot of money, but I think at the end it's definitely worth it. But yeah, I think with that, I mean, we've got 2 minutes, but I'm done talking. But yeah, with that, thanks so much, guys, for coming to the panel. I'm gonna ask one more time if there's any other questions, like if there's like a last question that someone wants to ask. Yes. Pretty good, man. Other than the crink in my neck, I'm good. And this tea is delicious. Cool, guys. Well, thanks so much for coming to my panel. I hope I was able to help in any way, shape, or form. If you have more questions that maybe I didn't discuss, feel free to drop by the autograph booth table. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there now. But then I'll be in the vendors hall at my table. So feel free to come up, say hi, ask any other questions that you may have. Oh, and I'll leave you with this too. In acting, there will be some times where people are give you constructive criticism because they want to see you grow. Never try to take that personally, just because sometimes it hurts, but at the end of the day, it will like make you a better actor. Obviously, if the person's rude, that's different. But constructive criticism, take that, you know, take that to heart, you know, especially if it's coming from like industry vets and whatnot, because we want to see you succeed and we want to see you grow. And I know it hurts to hear sometimes like, I don't know if you're ready, like maybe work on this. But trust me, you will be glad that somebody told you then and you got a chance to work on it, than hopping in the booth and then all of a sudden it's, you know, it's not good. So yeah, guys, I guess that's my last little piece of advice. I'll stop talking. I'll leave you guys to enjoy the rest of the convention. But thank you again for coming.